Okay, beta 10.5 is here, and I didn't even make a video about 10.4. It wasn't really that different from 10.31. So, I'm excited to show you 10.5. I think it's quite a bit better today. Before I do, I'm going to spend just a couple minutes showing you the basic controls for Tesla full self-driving, some of the indications to look for on the screen, how you turn it on, how you turn it off, and what the different modes are. So that way, as we're doing the drive, you kind of know what's going on. If you don't drive a Tesla, some of these things will be new to you, unless you are a super nerd like me and did all the research already and figured out how it all worked on your own. But I can't wait to show it to you. I've got a turkey to pick up today. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and so we'll be driving over to Honey Baked Ham in Franklin, Tennessee, and it should be a pretty packed day. Should be a lot of cars on the road, so we'll see how full self-driving handles it, and I'll be ready to take over at any time. Remember, FSD is not a program that works without driver assistance. So we're not there yet, but I do hope we are getting in that direction, and it sure does feel like that with 10.5. So let's take a quick look at some of the controls for autopilot and full self-driving. So on the Model 3 and Model Y, you just activate the full self-driving by tapping down on this all the way twice while you're already driving. So this gear stock here is the control for that on those cars. But on the Model S and the Model X, we have a dedicated control stock. It's this one here. This one controls your steering wheel height and telescoping. This one controls your wiper and your blinker. But this one is for the autopilot. And what it does is you pull it towards you twice to activate the autopilot. You push it away from you once to turn it off. And you can pull it towards you once as well, and that will just activate cruise control. So you also notice on the end cap of the control, you have a follow distance control as well, so you can control how far away you are from other vehicles. So it seems like it's really close following on the new vision-based stack, so I always keep it as far away as possible, and it still feels a little bit close to me. But this is what I'll be using to turn on and turn off the autopilot most of the time. Other methods of turning off the autopilot include stepping on the brake. That will that will turn on the car if you're just sitting in your driveway. But if you're driving, that will, if you tap the brake, it will turn off the full self-driving, and it will turn off cruise control. You can also take over by steering. So if it's like steering in a direction you don't want to go, or if you want to go in a different direction, you can just grab the wheel. It feels like there's a magnetic connection inside the wheel that connects it to like a servo that turns the wheel. And when you take over, that gives you manual control. And that does not deactivate the cruise control. So if you are full self-driving and you suddenly need to steer and you don't hit the brake and you don't push the stock here forward, you will still have cruise control active. So it will still be controlling the acceleration and braking of the vehicle. And one way you can see if it's doing that is there will be a little speed indication down here in the bottom right, or if you're on the highway up here, with a blue circle around your speed. So if that blue circle is around your speed, you are in a cruise control mode. So mode awareness is pretty important when you're driving a Tesla. It does not take very long to get used to, but I would not say there is no learning curve. So I would say the biggest thing to watch out for is if you are trying full self-driving for the first time and you take over using the steering wheel, just make sure that you're aware that the cruise control will still be active until you hit the brake or press forward on the control stock. If you're in a Model X, and I believe it's pressing up on the control stock with the gear for a Model 3 and Model Y. I'm not 100% certain about that, and somebody can comment and let me know how you deactivate FSD in a 3 or a Y. I don't know if that's a mode or not. I know that hitting the brake works on those though. But that's the walkthrough of the full self-driving controls. If you just have autopilot, which is separate from full self-driving, what that will do is keep your car in the lane and have a follow distance from another vehicle, but it won't make navigation decisions for you. So just plain autopilot won't make turns on city streets, and it won't take your exit on the interstate, and it won't make navigation choices for you. That is what the full self-driving package is for. Full self-driving also offers some things like summon, where if you're very courageous, you can open your Tesla app and have your car drive to you in a parking lot. But I literally have nightmares about summon. So it's not that it doesn't work or has ever been bad for me. It's just I want the full self-driving to function seamlessly before I let the car drive itself in the parking lot. That's all. That's another thing you get with FSD. But for me, FSD is definitely one of the coolest things. I can't imagine wanting to buy a Tesla without having the FSD option. And again, FSD stands for full self-driving. One more thing to know is that you cannot just get FSD beta in your car. You can't just say, all right, I ordered FSD and I can now run it in my car. You have to right now to join the beta program, to which is where they're having users test the software because it's not ready for public release yet. If you want FSD beta in your car, then you have to sign up for it. So in here, you'll see full self-driving beta is turned on. This is, sorry about that flickering there, but that's something you have to turn on if you have purchased FSD. And then you have to drive, I think it's 100 or 400 miles, I'm not sure which one, but you'll have to drive a certain number of miles and it will score your driving. And it's very difficult to get a good enough score in the safety score of the app to get approved for full self-driving. So just know you can't get FSD right now. You can get FSD beta, but you have to go through an application process where they score your driving before they let you in. So if you want to know how to do that, look up safety score Tesla, and you can learn more about how that works. That's not the scope of this video, but I did want to mention that you cannot just turn on FSD beta if you have purchased FSD. Not yet. It's still in testing, and it still does some pretty crazy things once in a while that they don't want the general public, who isn't necessarily paying super close attention, to have yet. So if you do buy a Tesla and you do want FSD, just know it's in beta right now, and it's not fully feature complete. It's not a self-driving car yet, but it's close, and I think they will get there. There may be some hardware or camera changes along the way. We don't know. We do know that the 2016 and 2017 Model S and Model X, and those will need a new camera setup, but they're giving that to the people for free for that. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting, as Elon would say, rather esoteric. So let's go for a drive. Let's see how 10.5 does. Let's go pick up a turkey. Navigate to Honey Baked Ham in Brentwood, Tennessee. And that's the right one. All right, so when you see this steering wheel icon right here, that means that autopilot full self-driving is available. When you see this little wiggly thing in front of the car, that is the path planning happening in real time. It shows the vehicle planning its path, and you'll see other vehicles on the display and all kinds of other things as well. But it shows navigation is available. So all I have to do now that it's in drive is pull that autopilot stalk towards me twice, and we're going. So off we go. So we will be watching for any disengagements. I may take over with steering, I may hit the brake to take over, I may push the autopilot stalk forward to take over, but that will create the autopilot off sound, and it will be very clear when I am now the one driving. I do have to keep my hands on the wheel here, because if I don't, it will make me take over. So that's how I keep it happy, is I put some steering pressure on the wheel. handled that pretty good right there. That was a little bit narrow with the car parked on the side and the oncoming traffic. It's pretty good at this neighborhood streets type stuff. Let's see how it handles this area with some pedestrians and traffic here. Stopped a little short of the line. It does that quite a lot, I've noticed. But here we go. Looking clear. And it's really trying to make up its mind. It's going to make this person impatient here. Yeah, it's really not quite sure what to do. Let this guy go ahead and I'll keep my foot on the brake. Maybe that's what is making autopilot a little bit nervous. All right, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? So far, I have not given it any input, but we got people starting to pile up behind me. So I'm gonna have to push on the accelerator. Sometimes you have to do that. It's probably the most common input needed in full self-driving beta is you have to push on the accelerator to convince it to move forward. It's a pretty common problem where it'll just kind of get stuck at a stop sign like that and it won't really be able to make up its mind. Which is weird because that stop sign, it doesn't really have that issue with generally. So we've got another one coming up here. We'll see how it handles that. See, pretty seamless. That worked just fine. It's a really nice day today. It's about 60 some degrees and tomorrow's Thanksgiving. It's supposed to be cold and rainy tomorrow. So hopefully everybody's getting their backyard football in today. And everybody's out picking up last minute groceries. The husbands are running chores. And that is what I am up to today myself. I'm picking up this turkey from the Honey Baked Ham Company. Now, Sam and I are actually vegetarians, but since we are hosting Thanksgiving, we didn't want to make everybody eat tofurkey. And I really don't like this. Let's not creep too far forward here. This intersection here is always a little bit annoying, but now's its chance to go. Please go, please go. Okay, I'm just gonna push on the accelerator. I would be more patient, but I do have people that wait for me at that intersection quite a bit. So the input of the accelerator is usually needed. Here comes a turn here at this red light. See how it handles this. Should be able to just go, but it's a little spooked by how close people are turning in front of us. Now let's go, come on, come on. The biggest issue, being a FSD beta tester, for me anyway, and some of my friends echo this as well, is it really feels like you're about to get rear-ended a lot of the time because it is a lot more hesitant in situations than normal human drivers are. So not too surprising that I have to push on the accelerator fairly often. And if you are one of the 97, 98 safety score folks that are just about to get into FSD beta, just know you're probably going to be pushing the accelerator quite a bit to avoid people honking at you or nearly running into the back of you. I haven't had any unsafe situations yet, but I've definitely had some impatient people. But that's the nature of Nashville drivers. They're fairly aggressive. All right, I'm going to push up on the autopilot stock here. It's got 2 detents. I'm going to push up the full detent here, and that's going to make the speed here go up to 45 because people usually drive about 45 or so on the road here. I don't know what that swerve was there. That was a little odd. I have to review that in the video and see if I can figure out why it swerved, but I think it's the power line shadows here that kind of curve. You can kind of see on the road where the power line hanging over makes a curved shadow. Maybe that fooled it, but that was a little bit odd for it to go so close to the yellow line there. I hope you and yours are having a excellent Thanksgiving if you celebrate, and let me know if you are planning to get a Tesla. If you do not have one already, what is your next car going to be? Would you consider it a Tesla or a different electric vehicle, or not even an electric vehicle at all? What is your next daily driver? What is the next ship for your fleet? I'm interested to know. I surmise that many people are currently intending to wear out their gas car that they're driving and plan to move to a Model 3 or a Model Y afterwards. I think there's millions of people that have that as their current plan, and if that's one of you, let me know. So this is FSD beta 10.5. It downloaded to the vehicle on Monday, which is I think the 22nd, and that was a few days behind the schedule, where they kind of anticipate those coming out on Fridays. But I would much rather it be behind schedule and to not have some significant bugs in it than get it early. So that's the strategy that Tesla has right now, is let a few people test the beta first before distributing it to all the beta testers. I think there's about 13,000 beta testers right now. There may be several more now that I believe a bunch of 98 safety scores have been added. Now that stoplight back there, that actually handled that quite well. That did good. Proud of it. It checked, it stopped, it checked, it went. It's about all you can hope for, right? And the reason I don't have two camera angles right now is I have my phone as a monitor here for my head-mounted camera, so I can just make sure it's pointed in the right direction. I know some folks had requested multiple camera angles, but if I have to do too much to make a video, then I'm just probably going to be somewhat lazy and not make the video if there's just too much effort needing to be done. That was a dangerous situation right there. That guy pulled out right in front of this person who was actually texting as they went by. That was a bad situation. All right, we are slowing down very unnecessarily slow here. I have to push on the accelerator just a bit to keep it going. Don't really like that. That's about the worst I've seen that curve handled, and I've seen it handled pretty poorly by autopilot and FSD beta. So I don't know what was different there that time, but it was like, whoa, I'm now going to go 17 miles an hour instead of the 25 to 30 that is appropriate for that corner. All right, so it needs to get in the turn lane here. This is always entertaining to see if it takes the turn lane correctly. It often does not. It will fly right by it sometimes, or get in it way too early. But it's doing great today. I am pleased with how it handled the turn lane there. My foot is hovering over the brake because it's making me nervous and the way it's creeping into the traffic here, but it's doing good. All right, it's our right away. I liked that. That was rather human-like. Good job, FSD. 10.5 is quite good. It does less of the annoying things that 10.4 did, which 10.4 had a lot of random phantom braking where it would apply the brakes somewhat aggressively and surprisingly no need to apply brakes. So you'd just be cruising along and boom, you'd hit phantom braking and be going 5 miles an hour slower. All right, I'm going to speed us up a bit because we have the impatient Thanksgiving chore dad behind me in his gas-powered Infiniti, and he wants to get to wherever he's going, so I will speed up a bit for him. Most people go about 40 on this road, even though it's a 35, so I'll drive a cultural 40 here. Most of the leaves have fallen from the trees. Last week was the ideal fall colors time in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you want to see Nashville in the fall and see some beautiful trees, the 2 weeks before Thanksgiving are pretty much the best time to do that. But they are mostly fallen now, so 4 minutes to go. This is a rather complex area here in the, good grief. It got spooked by that lawn truck kind of hanging over the line there, I think, but it slowed down a whole heck of a lot. But this terminal area here is going to be somewhat complex, and we'll see how it handles that. A lot of phantom braking on this road today. It's not totally out of its system, but it seems to be related to oncoming traffic on the other side, where for some reason it thinks the cars are further over than they really are. And I think that has to do with the angle of the sun making the shadow stick across the road quite sharply. So my guess is that is what is causing that, and driving back on the way back, it probably won't be as bad. But so far, the only inputs I've had to provide have been pushing on the accelerator just a little bit, once to get around that turn coming out of my neighborhood from the stop sign, and again a couple of times here on the drive. But it's getting nervous about this truck. I'm having to push on the accelerator here. Infinity Dad is not going to be too pleased if I slow down to 17 miles an hour to pass that truck that's kind of sticking out, which is what the car wanted to do. So I just push on the accelerator to keep it going. It's a common issue with FSD beta. You kind of have to hover your foot over the accelerator if you don't want to have people honking and riding your bumper. And now it will automatically slow down to 30 because it just saw a 30-mile-per-hour sign. But it's a nice gradual slowdown. It's not as aggressive as it used to be. And this road is a little narrow here. Let's see how it does. My hands are on the wheel. It's doing okay, actually. All right, we are turning right in point 1. At this red light right here. We should get a little bit of roundabout action here. I think there is a roundabout on this little road, so we'll see how it handles that. Oncoming traffic, looking clear to go. Let's see if she goes. And I did not tell it to go. That is actually it making that decision on its own, which is good, because it was time for us to go. It was our opportunity. Here comes the roundabout. Let's see how it handles it. All right, it's going too slow. Infinity Dad is still behind me. Mercedes Mom is about to get hit by me, so I had to disengage there, but it really wanted to pull out in front of that Mercedes. Oh geez, I think I just took the wrong turn there. I will turn around here. Hey, 2 Teslas, Model S's, sweet. But yeah, I wanted to keep going around that circle, but it was just doing it so poorly that I took over. All right. Nope. Somebody's coming. They are flying. All right, let's try that again. Now this will be kind of a hard angle for it to get around this roundabout here, so let's see how it handles this. All right, it came to a stop, which is not culturally appropriate, and now it really wants to pull out in front of that Camry. But it didn't, and I don't have to give it any input. It actually got around the roundabout just fine. Now that's not a simple situation. I am somewhat critical of autopilot, but it really handles some really complex stuff surprisingly well. Now this is fairly complex. I need to go through this light into this parking lot area, and it's doing that fine, very nicely. And let's see if it kind of turns off into this parking lot here. I'll be impressed if it does. All right, well now it's just gonna go forward, jerk around a little bit. All right, that's fine. I can park back here. Honey Baked Ham is right there. Thanks for riding. I'm going to back into a spot here. Well, that says that business is parking only, so I'll just park right here. Thanks for riding. That was fun. 10.5 is much less annoying in practice than 10.4 was. It needs less input and it freaks me out less often. I am pretty pleased with it, but it still has a ways to go, y'all. This ain't no robo-taxi yet. We're getting close. We really are. Thanks for riding with me. I will see you in the next one. It may be another 10.5 or it could be 10.6 or beyond. Just whenever it seems like it makes sense to make a video. But our turkey is in there. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving.